Hey everyone, Margarita here. I'm going to film this episode today on people who do spell work, participate in lower vibrational spiritual practices, people who go to a practitioner to have this done, energy projection overall, evil eye, mal ojo. It can be called many different things and there's different forms of it. So when it comes to me, I was forced to learn all of this stuff while my injury was very, very extreme. I didn't know if I was going to live or not, and I couldn't figure out how so many extreme circumstances could happen to somebody repeatedly and them just be near death and never actually die, but left in an extreme state of physical suffering. So that's what caused me to dig a little deeper and piece all this together to where I have it today, because everything I'm about to talk about, I didn't just come into the information overnight. This information had to come to me over the course of time as I was actively working on things and figuring things out and experiencing certain things along the way. So what I do know is that the picture on the thumbnail on this video, if you've clicked on this video, the thumbnail is going to be the picture of a cursed object that my mother managed to get into my home using my youngest child. And that picture is me as a baby, as a newborn baby at the hospital. And it was placed into a gold key ring, most likely back then. And my mother has been at the root of projecting negative energy, jealousy, envy, spell work, most likely. I don't know if she's actually doing it herself or she's going to a practitioner. But what I figured out is that item was cursed along the way. She had some type of spell work put on it, or she's been carrying it around the entire time I've been born, projecting negative energy at me. Because also along the way, I figured out every birthday I've ever had has been terrible. I have very extreme circumstances that happen every birthday. So I did away with birthdays a long time ago, but it's due to her dark thoughts that she swirls in her head. So that item made its way into my home a little over a year ago, and it had caused some things to happen. And I'd slowly pieced together that that's what was going on. I initially thought as soon as my son got the item that we needed to get rid of it. And it wasn't for some time that I realized, okay, we really got to find that and get rid of it. Because I did allow it to stay for a little while, and then I realized, no, it's got to go. So now it is gone. I have gotten rid of it. But what people don't realize is there's people into that type of thing. My mother is into those type of things. I had pieced this together along the way. There's numerous different people who gave me little bits of information along the way and how I came to learn all of this. But she is into some type of dark spell work. She is hiding behind the Catholic Church, portraying herself to everybody to be this nice person, this great individual who raised her grandkids because her daughter is such a mental disorder drug addict, and she has used all of this false narrative and this false persona of herself, and at the same time projecting to the rest of the world this false persona about me, about the exact opposite type of person that I am to all these individuals, to gain praise from all these people. That false persona that she's put on herself isn't real. She isn't this great, nice person. You don't see who she is behind closed doors, behind the scenes, what she's actually been doing all these decades, how she really acts, and people aren't aware of that. They really believe the fake nice person that she presents to the rest of the world. Well, I'm here to expose that too, because she's not that nice person. There's an evil witch in there. She carries the spirit of the devil. She carries the spirit of Jezebel. And I've known this all along. And when I was younger, her eyes used to switch in and out between being 100% black and the color being gone, and going back to the normal eye color. And that would be the devil coming out talking to me. But for some years, there is no brown left in her eyes. They're 100% black. She's stuck that way. That's another sign that somebody's into some dark spell work, or projecting the evil energy. And what I've been doing for some years now is removing it and sending it back to sender, because I realized that had to be done regularly within my life because of who I am, because I'm one of the 144,000 chosen ones, and I carry a different light that the rest of humanity doesn't carry, and it attracts evil. It attracts good, but it also attracts much evil, and it attracts a lot of jealousy and envy. And not only does my light and my energy attract that, but the lifestyle that I've built for myself, the way I look, the way I've been living my life, all of that attracts a bunch of negative energy and evil people toward me at the same time. So it's not just my mother. I've always carried the light. My mother saw that from the time I was a small child. And because she never wanted children, and then here I came along, and she perceives it as I destroyed her life by being born. Not only that, but I'm one of the good ones. She's one of the evil ones. And I confronted her about some of her ongoing crimes when I was a very small child, which is when she began farming the false narrative about me way back then with all these individuals, all these large agencies and family members and people around her. And it's because she couldn't let anybody know what I was talking about was real. And that's why she had to tell everybody I'm always known to lie when it's the exact opposite, because I had confronted her on some of her crimes and some of her evil doings. And she couldn't have anybody ever believing me at any point because she knew she would go to prison. So from a very young age, all of that was farmed along the way for others to believe that I am the exact opposite type of person that I am. Now, because of her malicious activities all those years, I knew from a very young age that I needed to move out right when I turned 18, which is exactly what I did. And then I cut all ties with her. And because she hasn't had direct access to me, what she was doing along the way was she was poisoning batches of food and then using my dad to get that food into my home and or my older kids, although not recently. It was more so my dad prior to his injury. And then at some point, some years ago, I told him what was going on. I used to just throw the food away. But then at some point, I let him know what was going on, what she was actually doing. And then he admitted to me that he knows that she poisons food. And so instead of him listening to anything I said, he took that information back to her. And she then went more heavily on manipulating those around me, manipulating him, repeating delusions to him and my daughter more heavily at that point going forward, because now she's aware, now that he brought her the information that I said, now she's aware that I know. And so here she was manipulating them so heavily and repeating so many more delusions. It was causing extreme chaos within my life and was causing all of these problems to happen, all on her delusions and her repeating them over and over. So instead of him listening to me and comprehending fully what I was saying about what she'd been doing, he just brought her back the information and continued to let himself get manipulated. And from that point forward, as soon as he delivered that information to her, those poison batches of food, to the extreme degree they were coming into my house had stopped altogether. And then she waited some time and she became more strategic and got other items. She would do it very strategically, and the incidences would be farther apart, and she was being way more strategic because now she's aware that I know. But then she was still using him to get the food items into my home, and I was still aware because I buy everything. I know what's what I bought and what I didn't buy. And she managed to get a couple items in after she realized that I knew what was going on. But since my dad's been injured and incapacitated, and she's not really accessing my older kids the way she once did, but there's no way to get the food items into my home the way she once did, to cause all this destruction and these problems. So I do believe she's stirring the pot of whatever she's putting in the food. She's just swirling dark thoughts and putting evil intentions and negative energy into it on top of the poison, and then it creates a problem within our lives, a physical problem and a spiritual problem. But because she's aware that I've known, and then once my dad became injured, she couldn't get the food into my home anymore, and now she can't really get it in at all. So what she did is she had given that keychain to my younger son so the item would make its way into my home, because then there's dark attachments on whatever item was worked on to cause problems in somebody's life. So if you're receiving gifts from somebody and that person does not mean you well, you most likely don't want to keep the gift, because it's very possible that they were swirling negative intentions, or they actually did work on the item to get it into your home to cause problems. That is what she did with the keychain and gave to my younger son. So I eventually found the keychain. I let it float around for a little over a year, realizing I needed to get rid of it a couple months ago. It was causing additional problems in my life. It has been since it's been here. And I couldn't find it right away. And I actually had a fire alarm that was going off about a week and a half ago. It was going off at different intervals, different time periods. The batteries were not dead. It was alerting me that I needed to find this item. And I was already aware that I needed to find the item. We just couldn't find it. After I realized what the message was, and I looked directly at the fire alarm when the light was red, it turned back green immediately. Once I got the message and I realized it, it never went off again. The batteries were never changed. Nothing was wrong with it. That was my spirit team alerting me to what was going on, because I have such a heavy spirit team in the background of ancestors and passed on loved ones who are watching over me, who are sending me the messages, who do realize that I can receive the messages. And that's what's been going on every step of the way since my injury, since I died and came back the first time. So they do send me messages. I receive them directly. I operate on them. I'm supposed to, and I'm supposed to follow along with it and carry out whatever is being asked of me. So I found that. I found that out a while back, figured out how all that worked. Did a little bit of a video on some of that already. And then once I realized what was going on with the smoke detector, shortly after I did find the key ring, I did remove it. It's been removed for a few days now. But the issue here is that's why it was sent, because she could no longer get the poison food into my home. That the keychain with the picture of me as a baby in it was then sent. And it's very possible she could have been carrying it around, practicing, whatever she's into, whatever type of spiritual work she's into, or if she took it to a practitioner, or if she's just carrying it around, swirling dark thoughts about me. Whatever's going on regarding that, that's what was holding a bunch of negative energy, causing problems in my life. So what no one's realizing is, as I'm removing this energy and as I continue to sage off what comes into my home and the negative energy others project at me, whether it comes from my mother or it comes from somebody else, doesn't matter. I get a lot of it. As I shift it away from me and get rid of it, because energy cannot be destroyed. It can be transmuted, but it can't be destroyed. It generally goes back to the sender of whoever sent it. So it's only a matter of time before this is going to manifest physically in her world. And I don't know if people have noticed yet. I haven't directly talked to my mother anytime recently, but I do know, since she's got me banned from my dad's room, that she has significantly aged. Her physical appearance has significantly declined, and that her there's no way that nobody's not noticing her mental and emotional and spiritual state is off. It's all off balance. There's something manifesting in all those areas for her. And at the same time, she's projecting to make me look like I have a mental disorder and a drug problem, which has never been real. And she's got all these people believing it at the same time. Here I am breaking free from all of that. And me speaking my truth and releasing the videos is also breaking me free from that. At the same time, I physically use sage and Palo Santo to remove the energy being projected at me regularly. I have been regularly for some time. And with me, it has to be maintained regularly because I'm one of the chosen ones. So yes, I do sage regularly. It's something that I have to do, but that's not everybody's case. And with me, I also have a lot of eyes on me due to what I look like, what I have, the level I'm on in life, the house I own. Not only that, but I'll get into this in its own episode, but I am a low-key celebrity. I have made a name for myself on the streets, not online, on the streets, in person. There's a lot of people who know who I am. So I will get to this separately in its own episode because it's going to take its own episode. But yes, I am a low-key celebrity. I'm just not known online. Until recently, I've been posting stuff online. Prior to this, I had no online presence. Everything was in person all along the way, all these decades. So I'll get to that in its own episode. But I have a lot of eyes on me, a lot of jealousy and envy. That creates the same type of energy, regardless that they're not doing spell work or not, doesn't matter. Creates the same problem. And that's why I have to continue to sage. And anybody experiencing those type of things in their life would need to do the same thing as well to maintain life, to maintain everything spiritually, because people don't even realize that that's a thing in life. Now, like I said, I was forced to learn all this. This is not something I set out to learn. I was forced to learn this. I was near death. Coming out of that, I then realized there's others that do this stuff as well. It's not just one individual. There's a lot of people who are into that type of thing. And if you read the Bible, you'll understand that it's in there. And some of the prayers are meant to remove that from your life. and remove those type of individuals and that type of activity from your life. So there's evidence long-term that this has all been going on the face of this earth long-term. It's just a matter of people's level of knowledge or whatever they were taught when they were little, or people generally get caught up with life and they kind of run off in their own direction with life. And most of the time they don't have reason to dig that deep or look into stuff to that degree, unless you're like me and you have something very extreme happen to you and you don't have a choice. So that's how I came to learn all of the knowledge. That is what was going on with this cursed item. It was causing physical incidences in my life. It was causing, it's causing other hiccups along the way. And we did remove it. So I guess we'll see. It takes time once you remove something like that. It does take time to kind of clear the energy, to clear and things to become more normalized. But generally that energy goes back to the person who sent it. So people sending me that stuff, all I do is I clear it away. I don't dibble and dabble in the dark arts and send things negatively toward people. What I do is I send them back their own energy, or I just straight up remove it from my home, from my body, from my property, wherever. And that's it. But there is people who in turn retaliate and then do something dark to retaliate back. But with me, I don't generally have to do that. I just have to get rid of the energy along the way, each step of the way. Now, there is a few times I've noticed other individuals along the way suffering from something pretty significant and they're not aware of it, because this has happened to me numerous times now. I have noticed that, and I have removed it from them, or at least I think I did, because some of the people I don't even talk to after the fact. But there is people, and then there was somebody that I did this for some years ago and then didn't see her for a couple of years. And then what she said to me after those couple of years had gone by, told me that what I did must have worked. So, because it totally slipped my mind. I just kind of go about my day. I do what I'm directed to do. But there's been times where I've noticed that other people have done this to people around me, and they're not aware of what actually happened to them. And I'm aware of it. And then I take action for them on their behalf, because I don't have malicious intent toward anyone. I just go about my life, stay on my path. If there's something that extreme going on where I catch it, then yes, I'll take action and remove it for them. And with me working with the general public, that's happened to people I don't really know as well. And me noticing that there is an issue, I have done a few things along the way to help those individuals. But yes, that's all I do. I don't do anything negative towards anybody. But if I'm aware that that's what's going on, if it's been brought to my attention, it's being brought to my attention for a reason, then yeah, I'll take care of it for them. And I usually just don't say anything. And I just, hopefully it plays out for the best. And from the experiences I've had and what I figured out along the way, it looks like it does work. It may not happen right away, but it will work. And eventually they get cleared and they get to go live their life after that. That's been my experience for the individuals that I have intervened for. Or it's actually called interceding. So I spiritually intercede for people. And then I just don't usually tell them unless I have to, or so there's times I've had to. But usually I just don't say anything, and I'll just remove it and go about my business and my day, and just, that's it. But with me, I have to do it regularly due to what all goes on with me, due to my mother actively doing this stuff at the very root, and other individuals as well. With all the eyes on me, with all the jealousy and envy, I have to do it probably more regularly than a person who considers himself doing it regularly. Now, I had to learn all this for a reason. This is part of humanity and how things work on planet Earth. It's just like I said, many people get caught up in life and they don't think about that type of thing, or they wouldn't have a reason to, because most of the people living on the earth are not one of the 144,000 chosen ones. So with me, yes, I was forced. Now I've got answers. Now I've helped several individuals, along with helping myself and kind of digging my way up out of the hole that I've been in, spiritually and physically and financially. It's all due to all of this. Everything I've been experiencing all of my life and all along the way, it's all due to all of this. And my mother's been at the root of it. And it just took some time for me to actually fully realize what she had been up to. And it took numerous different people who were more advanced at that type of thing than me to bring me that information individually, because none of these people know each other. It was at different incidences along the way, that I came to the conclusion that I do have today about who she is as a person, what she's been out here doing, and all the manipulation of all the individuals around her at the same time. So, yeah, like, I don't care if somebody wants to say, oh, your mom's such a great person, she's this, she's that. Like, no, she's not. You don't know the real her. You don't see what she does behind closed doors. Everything that's ever been coming out of her mouth is all delusions. So these are just facts. This is just the reality of what I've been dealing with. This is how I was forced to learn all of this, or I wasn't going to live. At the root, I had to figure all this out. And this keychain was placed in my life more recently because she no longer had any way to get how she was doing things all those decades, the 2 decades prior to that. She had no way to get the evil intentions into my home or into one's body the way she was doing with the food, or into my home at all. She had no way to do it. So that keychain was how she did it. I did remove it. Hopefully everything's good now. People who are trying to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, well, you'll see, because what's going to happen is this is all going to come back and smack her in the face, and you'll see, because eventually she will be arrested for her crimes. I don't care if it's tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, doesn't matter. It's still going to come back and smack her. Hopefully it's sooner than later, because she's already gotten away with decades of very serious crimes. But it's only a matter of time, because my videos are going to speak the truth, and they are going to clear my name, and it is going to implicate many individuals who participated in these crimes. And these are RICO crimes at this point. So she's manifested this all on her own, all in her own world, by projecting it out and meaning harm to others. This is all going to come back on her, and it's going to smack her in the face, and everybody's going to be able to see. The whole world's going to be able to see what she's been up to. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that cursed item, and a little bit more in depth about some of the things the general public doesn't usually think about or doesn't have reason to, because that type of thing is going on. There are individuals who are doing this, and usually it's very well hidden. So yeah, I'll be back with more. Thanks, bye.